Warning, the following broadcast contains strong opinions, playful antics, and controversial topics causing off-the-rails fun. Chances for being offended are higher than average for sensitive people. Viewer discretion is not advised. Live a little and have some fun.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. We have taken a little hiatus for a couple weeks, with people being sick, a bunch of, rescheduled games and things like that. And obviously, Mother Nature's decided to, throw down some snow and stuff here lately. So, fellas, it's been a long time, I feel like, since I've talked to you guys outside of our group chat and seen your faces. Anyway, how are things going? Is everybody great or what?
Hey, we've got another AMI day today, and it is fantastic.
I got to get out of this house. There's just too much of it going on.
Well, you could just leave.
Well, I've got my kids will be back in school tomorrow. We already got the email saying they'll have school tomorrow. I bet we do. So I don't know.
Good times.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah,
Cold-blooded.
So yeah, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm assuming that Fox will have school tomorrow. The roads are clear. We had a non-mandatory practice today. And, most of the stuff had kind of melted, and everybody's been doing a great job of getting things cleared off. And, big shout out to those people, all of our road workers that had to deal with this crap. It's been a terrible, terrible winter. And coming from somebody who I had to go out and try to get my truck started the other day. And, the battery was dead and it was really cold. So that was fun. I can only imagine working outside in this consistently. Outside of doing the farm work that I normally get to do. So.
All the school workers, all the staff that helps out for, I mean, again, hey, we're on an AMI day, but they're out cleaning up all the campuses and trying to deal with that. And I mean, you go back to start of the new year when they had that whole week of ice. I mean, that's just, kudos to them,
wild. Man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely wild. And that's just it's the tip of the iceberg, like that little pun there, of everything that's been going on this week. We've had a lot of crazy stuff that I feel like has happened. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the Super Bowl. And I know that everybody here who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan is probably like, well, good, because I don't want to talk about it. It was terrible, and I don't want to even relive that in my mind. But we are going to have to cover it because that's just what we do. And, we talk about whatever the hell we want. It's part of the show. So obviously, unless you lived under a rock or you're blind, you didn't get a chance to see it. The Kansas City Chiefs did not get a chance for their three-peat.
They had a chance. They had a chance.
Oh, yeah, until they showed up.
And then kickoff happened. Yes.
Kickoff happened. The national anthem happened first. Then, yeah. So it was pretty rough game that the Chiefs had. I mean, Philadelphia, you got to give them credit. When you got to Patrick Mahomes that many times rushing 4. I mean, it's reminiscent of what the Giants did to Tom Brady when they beat them. I guess I can't remember if it was 17. Anyway, when they were going for the perfect season, they got to Brady with just 4 guys, and that makes it really tough to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah. I again, at some point, I was just thinking, like, when are you going to make an adjustment? And you're going to bring a couple extra guys in to protect, and then I just look at play schematics and say, okay, why aren't we going to go ahead and try and dink and dunk and just kind of go down the field? Because they did not have a lot of minutes in the first half of possession. And so give your defense an opportunity to relax a little bit, give yourself as an offense opportunity to get going. It just seems, I don't know, discombobulated was a great word, and it just seemed like that way all across the board for Kansas City. But you have to give Philadelphia the credit because they put on a heck of a performance, not only defensively but offensively as well.
That's some of the best defensive game planning I've seen in a Super Bowl in a while. They really made the Chiefs' offensive line look porous. I'm not sure if went with 4 tight ends in that game if they could have kept them out of the back.
Right.
Just the defensive line and then the defensive backfield for Philadelphia, I thought just played one of the best defensive games I've seen played in a long time, football-wise.
So let me ask you guys this as coaches, as head coaches. So Sirianni goes from last year, hey, you know what? We got to get rid of this guy after an 11-1 start. We got to get rid of this guy. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing. To now 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, you're a Super Bowl champion. And
12-0, baby, 12-0 Mizzou.
Right? Kind of like Ryan Day at Ohio State. Hey, do they get any benefit of the doubt now, Sirianni? I mean, going forward, or if you want to add Ryan Day, what do you guys think?
It's what you've done for me lately. I mean, I think that's proven him. Hell, Doug Peterson got fired, 2 years after winning the Super Bowl, the first one the Eagles ever won. And Philadelphia is a town that kind of feels that they need to win right now. So he's like 1.5 seasons away from getting fired. And just like everybody else in the NFL, it's the same way, unless you're Mike Tomlin.
If he loses in the first round of the playoffs next year, they're calling for his head.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
speaking of head, what's up, Jughead?
I just see Jughead dancing in the.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, Mizzou is up to a huge lead.
Okay,
5-7
good.
the field. Your link wouldn't work.
It does now. Everybody else.
I was gonna say the three of us got on it, no problem.
Well, it kept wanting me to put in my Google information and all this. I'm like, no.
Put your Google information in. Why you got
called
differentiated instruction.
I'm not getting on this show on my school's email. That ain't happening.
Okay, well then don't.
So,
all right.
It wouldn't work. I had to shut my computer down twice.
Well, you mean turn it off, turn it back on? That doesn't work.
Well, it worked.
It works 95% of the time.
60% of the time it works every time. Facts. That's what we bring here.
Finally scored.
Yeah. So
I bet Dylan's having the time of his life, jerk.
Yeah. Well, Jason, I want you to go back about 2.5 weeks here and talk about the Super Bowl. Can you remember that far back?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
Jason, focus.
I'm sorry. This is why I was saying Thursday. I knew this game was going to be on tonight, and it was going to be easy for me to pay attention. But the Super Bowl sucked. It was awful.
It wasn't if you're an Eagles fan.
No, it wasn't entertaining. Nothing was.
It wasn't very entertaining.
The commercials
sucked. I mean, everything sucked.
Yeah,
it was one of the suckiest Super Bowls I've seen.
Now, okay,
I
gotta say
absolutely
this.
Fail miserably.
I've got to say this because there's a lot of this backlash about this halftime performance. Okay, and a lot of people maybe in our geographical location that's giving, either giving a hard time or getting a hard time for this Super Bowl.
What do you mean by that?
I don't. I'm just saying you can read
read
between the lines.
I don't.
We're not on the coastline. We're not on the coastline, and
Okay,
anyway. So my point is that I didn't hear anybody complaining. What was it? Two Super Bowls ago or whatever, when you had Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Eminem and 50 Cent and I think Kendrick Lamar was on there as well. I didn't hear any 40-year-old, 50-year-old Midwesterners. I didn't hear anything about that. I think it was arguably one of the best halftime shows ever. So I don't know. I don't know where.
I didn't like it because I don't like that type of music. I grew up on the Snoop and Dre and things like that, so I could enjoy that show.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't appeal to me, so I didn't enjoy it.
So you're saying his song that talks about not like us is kind of talking to you?
Sure, let him have it. Yes,
I think he was talking to you, Kevin.
That's fine. He can. I'm not sure he knows who I am. In fact, I'm pretty certain he doesn't know who I am. But
I mean, it was what it was. I mean, there's been other bad halftime shows, and some people, a lot of people, not from this area, like Zach said, "Oh, it was the greatest thing ever." But to each their own.
Yeah. Chris, Chris,
what do you want me to say? I did comment like several times throughout this. I mean, I thought I agree with Jason. The commercial sucked. The game was kind of blah. And I mean, especially if you're a Chiefs fan, it was really blah.
It was just a blowout. It just wasn't even.
I root for the Chiefs because they're in Missouri. My team left, so it doesn't really matter. And Brady retired, so I have no rooting interest in the NFL. I think it's a joke. It's poorly officiated. Everybody's a wuss. And then on top of that, the commercial sucked. The halftime show sucked. I liked the halftime show that Zach referenced. Also liked when the Who did the halftime show. That was a really good, especially from a rock and roll standpoint, it was one of the best ones. Very entertaining. But yeah, everything sucked. It was kind of like, oh, okay. I'm serious. I was like just working on my computer watching the game. I was like, yeah, okay. Well, I'm just gonna.
If you're gonna spend $4 million for a commercial, would you not want to create exactly? Make it good. Make it iconic. Yeah. Make it something that says, "Hey, I'm gonna remember this commercial for years." Not like I couldn't tell you. I could
Wise or
right?
Nothing like that.
Nothing.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
So, well, hey, Zach, I do have to ask now, can you drop the rigged portion of officiating?
Yeah, man. Hey, after that,
it's over. That's over.
Hey, now, hold on. The very first flag, though, in the game, you're like, oh, and here it goes. Here it goes. I think it was that offensive pass interference from Brown or whatever, whoever it was.
Yeah, it was on Brown.
Oh,
Brown,
yeah, like, uh-oh. I mean, Ethan and I, we just started cracking up, and then that was about all she wrote. So, yeah, is what it is.
That's funny. No, I think that put all that to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that there was no cheating at all. You got it handed to you. Thanks for playing, kids.
Do you think again, as coaches, as head coaches, I'll ask you this: do you think it's the fact that like all of those guys? I mean, it's 3 years in a row. You're getting to the Super Bowl. Is there a fatigue factor of, man, I don't
Absolutely.
have as long of an off season. They are getting older. A lot of those guys are in, if not past their prime. Does that weigh in? I mean, you look at Travis Kelce. He was a non-factor.
Travis Kelce said it on his podcast with his brother that he goes, they've played a lot of football and they're tired, and they instead of getting 6-7 months off, they're getting 4.5 maybe 5 months off, between seasons, but then you're right into OTAs and things like that. Right after just after the Super Bowl, it's very different for him. So, and he goes, the end of this year was just very tough, and it's going to be harder next year, knowing that they got to the Super Bowl and lost, and then have that short turnaround to come back again.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Well, I mean, we've said this. I think if you watched The Last Dance, it might have been referenced, but these teams that make deep playoff runs, there's no offseason. We talked about it when the Blues won the Cup for them when they had to come back after it's like you don't have any time. You're right back to it, and you gotta play. You gotta get after it. So, that's part of the game. It's part of almost the parody of things, because you have to overcome it. I mean, I think it's tough for any team that's consistently there. And yeah, there's a lot of fatigue. And as you get older and you have older players, they need that off season. That's why a lot of them skip the OTAs. That's why a lot of them skip preseason games, because they need that recovery time. And I think it finally caught up with the Chiefs, to be honest with you. Part of that is, not all of it, part of it.
Now, and I 100% agree with everything that you said, Chris, but I want Jarvis or Kevin or you guys can. Okay, I hear you, and I understand it as a collision sport, but you're talking about guys that are in the prime of their life, and they're in their 20s and 30s. They're not the guys that are working 12, 14, 16-hour shifts in a mill, in a tunnel somewhere, providing for their family, and worrying about this, that, and the other. They're out in the elements all of the time. So I got to take the whole, I'm fatigued a little bit with a grain of salt. Like, okay, how many times after week 4 or 5 are these dudes really at practice, and they're padded up, and they go through all of the stuff. I mean, how many times we see so-and-so, he didn't practice all week and he's going to play in the games. So when you hear these professional athletes, we can tie this into the NBA All-Star game and LeBron and all that, about all these guys sitting out. Part of me, I get it. I get it. But the other side of the coin is, for the average Joe citizen that watches, the fan that wants to go, they're not getting that time off. As a matter of fact, they're busting their butt probably 1,000 times harder.
Go ahead, Jason. I'll let you jump on this one first.
Dude, they're making 70-something million. Come on. Load restriction, my rear end. They're going to make in a minute of their gameplay what I'm going to make in a year. Go kick rocks. Get your butt on the floor and play, LeBron, you big wuss. What? That is such garbage. Garbage.
But the other thing to add to this is, and yes, there is something to that, and it is a collision sport. It's a heavy collision sport, especially at the NFL level. The other thing that you got is, you're talking about, in a 17-game season, you're getting 20% more games than anybody else. That's a pretty heavy deal. Working 20% more than someone else next to you. That's also, and I think part of it played into this. The way the Eagles looked is, over the last few years, they've had 9 more games than most other teams in the NFL to get overexposed in what they do. So, because the Chiefs aren't doing anything that different than what they've done in the past. Somebody just finally game planned against it.
Yeah, I mean, somebody was a little bit better with their X's and O's. Yeah.
Yep. And if you were just talking NFL's a little bit different, in my opinion. Like, you get to the end of the year and you do like the Chiefs did, and you sit everybody. I'm fine with that. I get it. When they basically lost that game.
Yeah, it's a trying to find I can't think of the right words I want to say to this part, but there's a reason they only play one game a week in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't believe they're talking about adding another one.
Well,
18
going down to 2 preseason games.
I know, but my
the
gosh,
Players Association doesn't want, but it's going to make this worse. This whole thing about its extent. Remember when the Super Bowl used to be in January?
Mm-hmm. It's all about money.
Now we're getting really close to it, almost pushing into the back half of February. It's not.
Woo! They're fun to watch, baby.
Yeah, this is not good for the NFL if they continue to go down that path.
If it goes one more week, though, then it's President's Day, right? And so then we would have that Monday off.
I'd be more just move President's Day to the week earlier. But
I don't know, man. It used to be like the first weekend in February or right at the end of January. And I agree with you, Kevin. My gosh, can we drag the season on any longer? And NBA isn't getting done until June. I mean, it's insane how long these leagues are playing. It's all about money. That's all anyone cares about, and from every sport into every level.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm loving every minute of this game I'm watching while we're doing this, but it's all about money too. Drop that 3, baby.
And
bam! Yeah.
It's really simple in the fact that a couple of years ago the NFL added a week between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl, and then moved the Pro Bowl or the skills competition or whatever it is to those weeks. So I mean, they're adding in additional weeks that weren't there in the first place to make that season even longer.
Can we pivot and talk about all-star games and how ridiculous they are? And just get rid of them. Just get rid of them.
Well, whatever the NHL's doing is awesome.
NHL's doing it right.
They were talking about that in the NBA. Maybe if they did the world versus the United States, maybe. They got to do something or just be done, because that's useless. That is. It's garbage. That is worse than that's. I mean, dude. I mean, come on. It's hard enough to watch the NBA in regular season, and I almost called Chris something. I will off the air later, but
well, so many things you can call.
Well, I mean, he's just.
Oh, no. You know what I'm having to? Hey, Coach, can you submit your all districts? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I submitted the nominations to our district.
I submitted
on site. On site. How many mother freaking emails do we have to have? How many times do we got? It's the same freaking process as it was last year. How about you do the same thing you did last year? You don't give it to those people on site. Here's the only way you do it. And then the reply is, well, here, will this work? I just sent this to your email. No, that will not work.
Well, that Google.
I'm sorry. I'm answering that. While you're watching Mizzou and being entertained, I'm being freaking entertained right now.
I don't think it's that hard. You just fill out a Google form.
It's not that hard. Trust me.
Apparently, it's incredibly hard, Ron. Coach Watson.
Okay. All right. Listen.
What are we doing? Why are we
playing first base is this difficult? Filling out this Google form is you can't see my hand is that difficult. It's that way near the effing ground. Oh my gosh.
So,
go ahead, Zach. I'm here.
I kind of want to go. There's a great meme that talks about the differences in all the All-Star games around this time. With the NFL Pro Bowl is just a skills competition where people playing flag football, and basketball is try to bounce a ball through a ring and then shoot 3 of them and see what happens in the skill competition. And then hockey, I will fight to the death for my country.
So explain. Well, we could talk about that later when you're talking about, I guess, the 4. I don't even know what it is. You guys,
4 nations.
Yeah,
the 4 nations.
I mean, that's not very inclusive? Only 4? I mean, is there not any other countries that want to participate?
No,
I think it's a
no. Russia,
right?
So I think that might be a political reason why Russia's probably not involved at this point.
Okay.
Yes, and so, but yeah, that was pretty. If other leagues would go the route, and I would say like if the NBA went the route of having even like a 4 nations type of tournament where you have the U.S., you have Germany, you have Spain, you have South America or a continents type of thing even. I think that would be a kind of a cool setup.
I mean, the only problem is then you have the Canadians and the Americans on the same team. I don't really want that. I want to see this. This is what I want to see. I want to see this kind of just absolute let's freaking fight.
What about how about we do this? Make the Pro Bowl make it flag football, but you know how they were talking about the QB for the US flag football team, Olympic flag football team, said there's no possible way the NFL guys could compete with me. Do pros with the flags versus like the Olympic guys. Let's see what that's like. That would be entertaining. That versus what we see, you got to do something and kind of bringing it back to the NBA.
Like watching Tyreek Hill just run by some lawyer who only plays on the weekends. Yes,
right. Well, he's supposed to do a race. I think he's supposed to do a race with the Olympic sprinter Lyle. I think they're supposed to later on down the road have a competition with each other, see who's faster.
The Pro Bowl is the biggest joke probably ever conceived at this point. The NBA All-Star Game is right behind it. Well, I mean, I take that back. The NBA All-Star Game format right now is the biggest joke ever conceived with the Pro Bowl flag football bull right. I mean, just sniffing its ass.
It wasn't terribly too long ago, though, that like you had Kobe Bryant guarding LeBron James and not allowing him to score. Like he was going to shut LeBron down in the All-Star game. And it went from where they competed to whatever they want to call this garbage. It was fun when they competed.
But it's what the players want. I mean, that's the thing. Adam Silver, they've talked about it's what the players wanted to turn it into. And it's like, okay,
joke.
I mean, how about
why don't they have a clown car? They have a clown car roll out there and just go ahead and have them all just roll out.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Take the NBA back to hand it over to MTV, the All-Star Weekend, and go back to Rock and
Jock. Yes. Hey, you could do a pros versus Joes baseball, like home run style derby, and be like, okay, what is the average, Plumber Joe, what can he do versus all these guys? Or hey, you know what? We'll give you the 1980s Easton bat and aluminum baseball bat and see if you can hit home runs versus what these MLB stars do. You know what I mean? Or say, hey, now you couldn't have him pitch against the pros because I'm sure that'd be a liability if you you got somebody hurt, but that would be something.
Okay, wait. You said the magic words, get somebody hurt. I don't think those guys that played in that 4 Nations thing were really worried about going back to their team and going, hey, guys, I got a broken hand from beating the shit out of this guy. They are just like, USA! I don't care.
That
That's
was
exactly
insane,
what happened.
Dude.
Maybe don't boo.
Maybe
don't boo the national anthem. I don't know.
Wait a minute. How about the fact that Colton Parayko actually decided to fight somebody? I mean, they were talking about that on 101 where Jamie Rivers is like, I just want to tell him, if you did that one time every 3 weeks, nobody would mess with you. People would be scared because he's that big of a man and he just doesn't want to go and fight people. But I mean, it wasn't like it was a JT Miller. Was that who he fought? Like that dude is a fighter. And he just threw him around like a little rag doll.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, I was kind of like,
well, the beginning of that
Canadian
game,
right
the
there.
beginning of that game with the Kachuk brothers, like, was a scene from Slapshot.
So did they just
watching
like
those guys skate around, just hammering people?
You said there's like 3 fights in 9 seconds. Is it like
3 fights in 9 seconds?
So how does that even work? Like, just before it ever, hey, just let you know, as soon as they drop this thing, I'm swinging. So protect yourself.
That's apparently that's what it's like. It's like they're at the face-off circle and they go, "Want to go? Want to go? Yeah, sure, let's do it. Drop the puck, drop the glove. There you go."
So Zach, you need to go and watch this movie Goon.
Oh yeah,
with have you seen it?
Sean
Williams. Oh yeah, it's great. It's a good movie. It's actually based on a true story, and just see. I mean, that's just how it is. It's like
there's a documentary a few years old, like ice enforcers or something. I can't remember what it is, but it talked about how I guess those guys are going by the wayside. I guess the game is changing, the NHL game is changing, and the enforcers are dying out. That was a pretty good documentary.
Yeah, because a bunch of wussy Karens got upset about
it's all money,
fighting, and they think, "Oh my gosh, my kids are gonna."
It's all money.
I know. I'm aware. But this is why the demasculinization of society with a bunch of people who don't understand how to fight and to do it with, like there is etiquette to how hockey players fight.
Now time out. Now this is the same guy that was talking about Caitlin Clark getting clobbered and saying, "Hey, you're roughing up the face of the franchise." Now this is the same guy that's talking about hockey and saying, "Oh, you guys are a bunch of wussies." Why did you not take the exact same formula and saying, hold on, we have to protect the names and faces of the NHL so those guys aren't getting hurt?
He's not talking about Connor McDavid fighting.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know hockey. I'm just trying to get us to talk about stuff.
No.
No, that's all it says.
You're
wrong. No.
No, you're not. He's not talking about Connor McDavid fighting. That's the face of the NHL. It's not, those guys. It's the enforcers down, the third liners, the fourth liners that are going at it. Mm-hmm. Okay, the Kachucks aren't third and fourth liners, but
I was going to say, whoa, but yeah,
they're a little
definitely
bit first line guys, but they are cut from a different mold, knowing their father than what some of these other ones are. Yeah. So that is a rough and tumble game, and basketball is very different. There's not checking into the boards. There's not fighting in that sense. So it's two different games in two different scenarios. It's like comparing apples to elephants. You just can't do that.
This collegiate game is going on. It's pretty physical right now.
Look, college basketball is on another level of physical in itself, where I'm pretty sure I would blow a gasket with all the stuff they're allowed to do and get away with if I was coaching at that level. But the thing about it is, Zach, and to answer your question of like why I would say that about Caitlin Clark, Wayne Gretzky was targeted too, and he was the face of hockey. So what the Edmonton Oilers did was they got Marty McSorley, and I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head. So you know what happened? If you hit Wayne, then these guys are going to jump in there and they're going to beat the hell out of you the next time. Just know they're going to look over there and they're going to go, you and me. And so as soon as that happens, I get on the ice, you're on the ice, gloves go down, and then we're going fisticuffs. So you're going to see, don't ever do that again. You don't touch him. So because the WNBA doesn't allow that sort of thing, which you can still get around it, which is probably why Sophie Cunningham is going to be playing there. You got somebody who's going to knock the crap out of somebody for doing that. It's going to happen. And that's how to me, hey, at the end of the day, that's how it should be. But you got to understand too, if the WNBA isn't going to, it's the same thing that hockey went through with Gretzky and Jordan.
But the NBA went through the same thing. I mean, you had before the Bulls traded Charles Oakley. If you messed with Michael Jordan, Charles Oakley was knocking you down, and then it was Rodman. And
there was always somebody.
The Caitlin Clark thing to me was, I felt like as her teammate, I didn't think her teammates did a good job of coming to her aid when that crap happened.
No, they didn't.
And I think part of that was because of all the resentment of how great the WNBA came because of her. And there's a lot of jealousy with them women, man. There is a lot of jealousy going on in that league. And
there is.
I hope it gets cleaned up because there were some things that I thought that went on. Some of the fouls that she took were just completely unnecessary. But if you got someone there that's gonna bushwhack them back, then you may not have that as much, you know.
Well, and I think that's kind of what they needed anyway. Obviously last year with how things went with Clark and getting pummeled like she did. I mean, she took a beating, and this is the person who's going to save your league. And that was fine. Like it happened with Jordan, but then the Bulls are like, all right, we got Charles Oakley. So that's your job. Take care of that. And that's a team by team thing. I mean, if in hockey, you get fined for egregious hits. I don't know what kind of fines these WNBA players are getting for dropping the hammer down on Clark with some very questionable fouls. So that's where the WNBA should have stepped in. On a team-wise thing, yeah, if that's your teammate, somebody's got to step up and be like, okay, that we don't do that. You're not going to do that. Because I understand the importance of this player to our team and to the league. I mean, but to our team. So Jason is probably hitting the nail on the head with how the jealousy factor is. Hopefully, with all these new faces coming in on, I kind of hope that they do really well. I want to go watch a game if I can. I don't know. I don't have any money.
Well, Chris, on that note, you want to take a short break? We come back, talk about this since Jarvis.
If I don't come back on,
since he's all locked in with this SEC game that's going on, we can talk about some of the big news between the SEC and the Big Ten. They're meeting in New Orleans yesterday and today.
Sounds good. You're watching the Coach's Box. We will return in a little bit.
I'm the guy sitting next to your girl on the kiss cam.
And this game just got a lot more interesting.
Sheila? Mom?
Fire!
And if you don't have the right home coverage, you might have to kiss your savings goodbye. Let's go, beat it. So get Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
Bro!
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
It's Between Takes with Daikin and Dave Mars.
Good. All right, next set up.
Hey, Dave, we got another question about energy savings. And this is a good one.
Yeah, efficiency is so important.
Didn't you just talk with Daikin about this?
They said energy efficiency is the key to a happy marriage. She gets the temperature, I get the savings.
Good to know. I'll tell them to check with their local Daikin dealer.
All right, back to one.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com. In the hobby of collecting, check out Elite Collectibles, open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They carry a wide variety of sports cards, trading cards, magic cards, Pokemon cards, and other non-sports cards. Need some supplies? They also have sleeves, top loaders, boxes, and much, much more. They have online auctions every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and also do bulk grading submissions to SGC and CGC. Check out Elite Collectibles at 1258 Main Street in Imperial, Missouri. You can also view their entire inventory at www.elitecollecting.com.
You need new entertainment. You need full-length content. You need the Real Fresh channel. Hey, I'm Health Fresh from the Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today on YouTube. We have new content. We are a network of podcasters putting out new stuff every single day. Whether you need sports, pro or college, whether you need comedies, whether you need pop culture, whether you need wrestling. We've got so much content on there. Gaming. Check it out. Live, not live. We've got it all. The Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second segment of the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. And we are on episode 225. We are glad to be back after having a couple weeks off. And, it's like it said in those commercials, you're bringing this to you all for the grand total of absolutely $0. We appreciate our sponsors being a part of that to help make that possible, including Wiley Agencies and Elite Collectibles and our friends over at SMCI. So if you're interested in being a sponsor of the, what is so damn funny?
Jarvis.
Why don't you just put the computer in front of your face?
Well,
no, that's all right. Your profile is much better than the front of your face. Let's just leave it there. That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, if you're interested in being a sponsor of this crap show.
Oh, that was clean. Gosh, he got robbed.
And this is what Jarvis sounds like when he's coaching a game. If you're interested in being a part of this crap show and sponsoring us, it's a very low price. Feel free to reach out to us at coachesmailbox@gmail.com, or you can message us on any of our platforms and we will respond to you as well. Zach, go ahead and take it away with our next segment of topics. Right. If you're running that,
we'll wait till halftime.
I'm over here trying to make sure people are not done.
We'll wait till halftime till Jarvis can refocus and lock in, talk about all the hockey stuff. So the SEC and the Big Ten met in New Orleans, and they're discussing college football playoffs and what they're trying to do going forward, okay? So some of the ideas that they're bringing up are talking about automatic qualifiers for their conferences. So let me rewind. So we're at 12 teams now. They're floating the idea of 14 teams. They're floating the idea of 16 teams. And with that comes the SEC gets a certain amount of automatic qualifiers, as well as the Big Ten. And I believe they're trying to say something like 4 and 4. So if you do you can do the math there. That's one of their points of emphasis. Guys, what's your take on only those two conferences meeting to talk about basically the playoff system and format going forward? You're leaving out the ACC, you're leaving out the Big 12, and I'm going to throw out some buzzwords later on after you guys get talking here. Is this a good idea, bad idea for college football?
Place is rocking, man. Holy moly, it's awesome. Sorry.
And Jarvis is. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, can we get through at least 2 years of the current format before we start trying to screw with it? That's where I'm at with this. I was like, let's get through at least year 2 before we figure out it's a complete dumpster fire and we need to go back to the thing anyway. There was really nothing wrong with it this year. I didn't like parts of it, but it was much better than what it was before. Let's let this play out a couple of years before we do this. If the Big Ten and the SEC are as good as what they say they are, they'll get their teams in.
It's not a bad take.
Chris, what do you think?
I just feel like if it's bad, if it's already bad, it needs to be fixed, then just fix it. But I do think it's kind of wild that they were the only two conferences they're representing. It kind of feels like, they are the straw that stirs the NCAA's drink.
Alabama's coach shattered his clipboard. I don't know, or something, and it went all over the floor. And oh yeah, Oh yeah, all over the floor, looked like Chris Miller.
Well,
the marker went flying all the way to half court. I guess he got teed up for it. Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
This game is awesome.
The only thing that was really wrong with this year's setup was the auto seed of the 1 through 4 as have to be cut. That's the only thing. If they wouldn't have done that, I think it would have been a tremendous 12-team tournament, and it would have been fine.
I think that's the biggest to do about it. I mean, there's always going to be somebody who's going to feel like they're slighted because they didn't get in. Let's just face it. It doesn't matter. Most of the time, it's going to be some power conference school that didn't get in over some San Diego who gives a crap state.
Like Florida State loses their quarterback, they don't get in, but other teams lose their quarterback and get in. I mean, I don't know.
Well, Jason, it was this year's. This year. Last year's not.
Oh,
not this year.
We don't. I'm not here to talk about the past, right? Is that the line?
That's exactly right.
Very much aligned. Technical for Alabama. Oh, my bad. Oh, come on, Grill. Dude, it's hard to focus. It'll be halftime soon.
It'll be halftime. It's not soon enough. No.
So, but to only have those two conferences there, but to only have those two conferences there is kind of a slap in the face to the Big 12s and the ACCs that while maybe they don't necessarily deserve as much of a seat, there's still a seat there for them.
So here is when you say that, Kevin, so here is the flip side of the coin. Because, Chris, you're going to say the SEC, Big Ten, they stir the drink. Everybody understands that. So the buzzword, I guess the 2025 political buzzword is marginalize. Does those conferences marginalize now the ACC and the Big 12 and let's just say the fans of some of those teams? Because at what point, if it's solely dominated by the SEC and Big Ten, what about those schools that, the Oklahoma States or the Kansas States or the Syracuse or the Miamis or whoever, insert whatever team, and it's like, what? I'm not going to watch. Because like we've said last segment, everything comes back to money. And so if you are trying to me, I get the idea of, hey, we're the SEC, we're the Big Ten, we've got better teams in the conference, or we've got better teams anyway, we need more of them in. But wouldn't you rather say, if we're better, like, we're going to win and get in? And so what does that do to the other fans nationally? I mean, if you want to throw out globally or whatever, but what does that do with all of the other fans in college football to say, I don't want to watch Georgia, Alabama 3 different times? Like, that's boring to me. I'm going to go find something else to do. Or my conference isn't.
Well, they're the better team.
If it's good football, I think people are going to watch
it. That's the whole idea. I mean, when do you if you're a Big 12 team, do you tune out? I mean, look at what Colorado's done. They obviously didn't get into the playoff. They had a much, much better year this year than what people anticipated, but they were worth watching, and it created storylines. And if it's a situation where they're not ever in or can't ever get to that level, then is it like, I'm a fan of Colorado, I'm not even going to worry about watching the playoffs anymore, and it becomes stagnant. I don't know. I'm just trying to get you guys thinking, like, is it a good idea, bad idea for
the playoffs?
These two?
Were not, but the playoffs were pretty good. I mean, if you're a college football fan, you're going to watch them. I mean, I thought they were great. There were some great games that came in those playoffs this year. I mean, it doesn't matter what format we use, what we do, how we pick it. It's always going to be someone complaining. It's just like being a head coach.
Yep.
I didn't play Johnny enough. I didn't play Sammy enough.
So
but I made this parent happy because I played Smitty the whole game. So I mean, it is what there is.
It's going to be very difficult, I think, to have the SEC and the Big Ten get a lot of teams in just by winning because of how deep the conferences are. They're going to beat up on each other, and you're going to have really good football teams with 3 and 4 losses just because they're in the conference versus, say, the Big 12 and the ACC, who they have they could be very top heavy with their teams because they're beating up on some lesser teams at the bottom half of that conference. So I think the SEC and the Big Ten having that conversation is because of that. It's, listen, our conferences are so deep. Sometimes our 7th, 8th team is better than another conference's 2nd or 3rd team, and they're just going to beat up on each other. They deserve to get in before a conference champion in a conference that maybe didn't necessarily have to play the gauntlet of schools that all of the SEC schools have to play.
So this is where I think I hate saying this, and I know it's just going to make his head completely huge. This is where I think we just get away from having these conferences in general, because
don't do it.
You're going to have to divide up somehow, and you're going to have to play based on there's going to have to be some kind of regional play. There just is, because there's no other way to do it. I'll use this word too. There's no equitable way to do this. There's no equity in anything that's going on with college football because of what you said. Well, our 9th best team is better than your 2nd best team, but they don't have to play that schedule. Well, when they try to play a schedule, they don't schedule that team because they don't want the chance of getting beat. Well, you ain't going to let us into the conference. We have too many schools in our conference. You don't have the seating capacity. You don't have X, Y, and Z. So there's restraints put on these schools. They don't have the ability to compete at that level. You can't let everybody in the damn tournament. Otherwise, why even have a regular season? Because you got to keep cutting it back, or you got to keep expanding it. And we already see what happens when you play more football games. People get hurt, like Georgia didn't have its quarterback, whatever. So the thing is the conferences they're outdated. They're outdated. They don't need to be there. They need to just make these super conferences is regional areas of play, and you need to have your top teams from each move in and play, or however they got to do it, and then you have your at-large bids. I don't know. That's to me, that's about the only way you can do it. I don't see any other way that you can give these other schools a chance, because if everybody who's good is in the SEC or the Big Ten, then how does anybody else have a chance to get to break in? They just don't. They don't. So you're not really you're getting the Big Ten SEC champion. There's no Cinderella. There's no shot. Nothing. And that's just my feelings on the whole thing.
Well, I go back. Well, like I said, I go back to Chris. I like the idea of, think of it like it may not be exact, but we have districts in Missouri for high school football. Now, geographically, as best it can by district. Okay, I think you have to do geographical boundaries, and you could call them districts, regions. You could even call them conferences if you want to. But I think the idea of getting away from rivalries and say, look, we're going to create new things. Okay. And again, have 10 to 12 or however you want to do it, because again, it's predicated on, do you want a 12, 14, 16 team playoff? But then you divide everything up. And this is where your equitability, or whatever the heck you called, earlier, make things fair and equitable, and say, here is a region. Here are the teams that are in said region. We try and make it as equitable as we can. And then those are going to be the teams, again, the top 2, top 4, whatever. They're the ones that get to go play for the playoff. And you just have to do, if you're okay with getting rid of conferences, then you have to be okay with getting rid of rivalries.
Well, if we're going to go this far to do this, I think you have to completely eliminate the idea of geographic regions. A couple of people have mentioned it in the comments. Why not just have it set up in tiers? You have like this many tier 1s, but then you within each district, region, whatever you call it, you have 4 tier 1s, 4 tier 2s, 4 tier 3s, 4 tier 4s, and then you play that schedule through there, and then you have like, quad A, B, C, and whatever it would be. So then it's a more even playing field.
Flights.
Yes.
Golf.
But you have the same number of teams from each flight in a conference, so that
here's
when
my
you play it's equitable balance.
Okay, I would, if we didn't have NIL and if we didn't have the transfer portal, I say great. How are you going to referee that, or how are you going to even evaluate that from year to year now, based off of transfer portal alone and NIL deals alone?
Promotion relegation.
I love that idea.
You're in your flight, and if you finish in the bottom 2, you drop down to the next flight down, and if you win the other flight, you move up to the next flight. So you can have the same, your Alabamas and in your Texas and your Texas A&Ms, they're always going to be in that flight 1 because of all those things that we talk about, unless they start losing, and then they'll drop, which generally losing equates to drop in NIL money. So I think that, yes, John Norton, it's European soccer style. With MLS season starting this Saturday, it's MLS, it's soccer style with this type of thing. I think that's a great way to go about it.
That's the thing,
here.
When Jarvis talks about you're not going to make everybody happy, that's probably the best way to do it. But here's what's going to happen. The Alabama boosters, the Auburn boosters, the Georgia boosters, all these millionaires that are funneling all these dollars into these programs, they're going to say, no, we have to have, hey, everybody that is giving money to ESPN or the NCAA, no, our team's in. Like, that's the whole reason why they're even talking about going to 14 or 16 teams, because of the fact that Alabama had 3 losses, and I'm an Alabama guy, but it's like, if you don't win, you can't get in. Like, it's plain and simple. Like, you have to beat.
Is it though?
It should be. It should be.
Well, it should be. If and buts were candy and nuts,
and I'll have a Merry Christmas.
But
I get it.
It's not.
Yeah,
that's right, Norton. Right. I am right. I'm always right.
Well, Norton, you gotta watch using profanity on this show. This is a family show here, okay? We don't like having those kinds of words typed out in the comments. Just so you know.
The internet's forever, John.
Family.
Don't put that out there. The internet's forever.
That's right.
It's hard for some of you to swallow, but
forever.
I mean, 95%. Tell my wife all the time, I'm like 95% correct.
Apology accepted, John.
Good. We're just messing with you.
Don't say you're sorry, Norton. I don't even know you, but come on now.
I don't even know you. He's not saying sorry that you're right. He's saying sorry for the profanity, Jarvis. Go back to watching the Mizzou game. It'll be halftime here in a second.
Yeah, aren't you busy with something right now?
No, not at all. I mean, they're having a review or some crap.
I'm wondering if he's getting ready for his.
Alabama's coach has been crybabying.
Lord.
Man.
But that's it's gonna be kind of interesting to see what they end up doing with college football, and it's minor league football at this point. That's all it is.
Well,
I mean, these guys are getting an opportunity to move around a little bit and then make money, and they're making more money. They're making more money in college than they are when they go in the first 4 years of pros.
What teams they're on? I mean, it's like
that's why I think the popularity of college sports has dropped a little bit, and I didn't say completely. Okay, don't get me wrong, because there's still plenty of people who show up and watch the games. College football, I don't feel like there's as much movement as college basketball. I can't keep track of all these guys jumping teams, going here, going there. I have no rooting interest in outside of Mizzou in college basketball. And I could not tell you I could not name you the top 3 players in the country outside of the flag kid or whatever from Duke.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's only because he plays for Duke, and I've seen him play a couple times watching the games. If he doesn't go pro for whatever reason, and if he would leave and go to another program, I wouldn't. I don't care. But I feel like it's again that the transfer portal has kind of ruined that for me, being a fan of collegiate sports, especially with basketball.
Well,
so that's
the SEC and the Big Ten, and you history teachers will maybe agree or not agree with this. They are trying to electoral college football. They're trying to say we're bigger, we're more important. Give us
more votes.
We get more votes. We should have a bigger piece of the pie because of who we are and because of what we've got. So, yeah, that's just what this is. It's a power grab by both the SEC and the Big Ten when they already have the power.
They're like He-Man.
So
he has. Jason, that's a show from a cartoon.
He's not
80s.
paying attention. John,
hey,
He-Man?
I got Skeletor's Mansion,
listen.
baby. Come on.
Hey,
Skeletor's
Mansion. Heck yeah. I got He-Man. I got all that stuff. My mom still got that stuff at the house.
Hey,
it's Snake
probably
Mountain, dude. Get it right.
worth a fortune.
Castle Grayskull.
Yes, I have Castle Grayskull. I don't remember the names. I just knew I had it.
See, John, so right there, listen, don't take offense. His ADD has kicked in watching this Mizzou game, so it's okay.
I know who you are, John.
He didn't even know to come on the show at 8 o'clock, so don't worry about it.
Just backtracking here, man.
I'm not backtracking at all. Now that he says that, I'm like, oh crap, I'm an idiot.
Man, there's the other 5%.
Well, hey, I open mouth, insert foot. I do it quite often.
Oh,
get your foot to your mouth. I'd like to see that on air.
That ain't happening, bro.
Well, hey, Chris,
I'm barely fitting in my clothes right now.
And when we come back, we could either
you guys. You are all about breaks, this guy. The Dave Duke hat.
It's 30
minute
mark there, Jarvis. And either we could do hockey or
while you're over there watching
training.
You've been watching your game.
Right. There he is.
See? You come back, more Coach's Box and Jason watching Mizzou in the side of his face.
I'm an overpowered leaf blower, and I'm not exactly street legal.
And if you don't have the right auto coverage, this could really blow your budget. So get Allstate, save money, and be protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
It's Between Takes with Daikin and Dave Mars.
Good. All right, next set up.
Hey, Dave, we got another question about energy savings. And this is a good one.
Yeah, efficiency is so important.
Didn't you just talk with Daikin about this?
They said energy efficiency is the key to a happy marriage. She gets the temperature, I get the savings.
Good to know. I'll tell them to check with their local Daikin dealer.
All right, back to one.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com. In the hobby of collecting, check out Elite Collectibles, open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They carry a wide variety of sports cards, trading cards, magic cards, Pokemon cards, and other non-sports cards. Need some supplies? They also have sleeves, top loaders, boxes, and much, much more. They have online auctions every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and also do bulk grading submissions to SGC and CGC. Check out Elite Collectibles at 1258 Main Street in Imperial, Missouri. You can also view their entire inventory at www.elitecollecting.com.
You need new entertainment. You need full-length content. You need the Real Fresh channel. Hey, I'm Health Fresh from the Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today on YouTube. We have new content. We are a network of podcasters putting out new stuff every single day. Whether you need sports, pro or college, whether you need comedies, whether you need pop culture, whether you need wrestling, we've got so much content on there. Gaming, check it out. Live, not live, we've got it all. The Real Fresh channel, subscribe today.
And welcome back to the third and final segment of the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. If you like our show and you want to be a part of the show, feel free to drop in and make comments. We won't pick on you, unlike Jason with John over here in our comment section. But we do appreciate the engagement of our fans and detractors of the show. And if you do enjoy being a part of it and you want to be a bigger part of it, feel free to sponsor the show like the people in our commercials. It's extremely cheap in comparison to other places to do advertisement with and other video podcasts. So contact us if you're interested, and we will help you out. We like to help our local businesses. Anyway, our third and final topic. How about those St. Louis Cardinals? Snooze Fest 2025. Hashtag 61
Hashtag
wins.
suck.
Hashtag 91 wins.
Oh my God.
Hashtag don't spend money.
There
Hashtag,
it is right there.
hashtag no pickups. None. Zilch. Zero.
Hashtag let's see what we have. Let's see what we have.
Hashtag patience.
There it is.
Oh, God. You guys just gotta understand, we just, we don't have no money to spend on players because nobody came to the games, okay?
Okay. We're still trying to figure out what we got. Trying to figure out these young guys. Yeah, but yeah.
Are you? Let's see those guys play. I want to see them play as many games as possible. I want to see Gorman go up there and set the major league record for strikeouts. I want to see what we have in Victor Scott. I want to see what we have in Jordan Walker. I don't want to see these guys going up and down to Memphis. There's no reason for Walker to ever go down to Memphis unless he's visiting Beale Street himself. There is no reason why any of these guys should be anywhere near the Memphis Redbirds unless they're visiting and watching a game to see their buddies play. They should not be a part of that unless it's a rehab assignment. They need to play. They should have found a way to get rid of Nolan Arenado because that's only holding up a spot that they could be using to find out what they have in other players. So I don't want to hear this crap. I think it's dumb. I think the whole offseason's been a complete waste of nothing.
It's awful.
It's terrible. It's just terrible.
100% behind Chris Miller on this. Not many times will I say that, but on this instance, I'm behind him. And yeah.
You're actually in front of me on this computer, but go ahead.
See, and then he has to be a dumb, you-know-what, and just make it all go away. But, yeah, it's just the state of sports in St. Louis, period, really. I mean, we're not a sports city anymore.
Well, that's one of
you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth when you say things like that.
That's
how do you figure? How are we?
That's one of the debatable questions I wanted to have. Is St. Louis becoming an irrelevant?
You think I looked at the agenda, Zach?
Of course not.
No.
Of course not.
No. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
No, I actually did catch that, but I just, dude, it's just bad. It's just bad. There's nothing about this off season that anyone can sit here as a Cardinals fan go, man, I can't wait for the season.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I really can't wait because I want to see exactly what they do. I mean, that's God honest
truth. Laughing stock.
I want to see if Well, I mean, then you're going to do it. Are they going to hold true to what they said and let these guys play, or is it going to be the same old, same old?
I
want to see
I'm with
it.
Chris. I want to see if Nolan Gorman, while maybe he might lead the league in strikeouts, he might also hit 30 bombs on the year.
Yeah, can he be Schwarber? I mean, can he be like that?
And that's fine. At least we know what we've got at that point. And can Mason Wynn continue to evolve this year? Does Jordan Walker take another step? Does Victor Scott turn into the next coming of Willie McGee in the outfield running?
Well, I think part of your problem though is you got two spots that are screwing this whole thing up. You got a catcher that's going to be playing first, and you have a third baseman that you totally screwed the pooch on getting rid of. So you got two spots there. You can't sit. I mean, you're not going to be able to sit Arenado for how much you're paying him. I mean, the dude's got to play. And so, you got Contreras. We're in the same situation. You're planning on playing him at first. So, we got the outfield. You got Siani and Victor Scott, right? And then you still have Newt. You still have
Walker.
Burleson. Burleson. You still have Donovan. Because if Gorman can't play third, they did not get rid of enough. And if we're gonna do it, we should have got rid of Michaelis. We should have got rid of the Letty. If we're gonna do it, do it. Get rid of all of them.
Letty.
Probably Fetty.
Letty plays for the Blues.
Fetty, Letty, whatever the hell his name is.
Fetty, Letty,
confetti, it don't matter. We ain't gonna see any confetti in St. Louis. Our sports suck.
Wow.
Well, the whole
go Battlehawks.
The whole comment about St. Louis not being a sports town anymore. That's a snapshot. That's a thing that is, while the last years has not been good, it's never going to be a permanent thing. There will always, there will be a chance the Cardinals will win ball games again at some point. I don't know when, but they'll win again at some point.
This ownership, D Wallet, and we're gonna no.
Did you hear what I just said? I just said at some point.
We may all be dead, Kevin.
Some of us sooner than others.
Out of all of us, who are we referencing here?
And I'm the second oldest.
I am not the only overweight person in this sports square.
What is all this? Shots fired! Oh my gosh! Why is it? Who's saying wait? Who's saying wait?
I said age.
Oh, that escalated quickly. Really got out of hand.
Oh man!
I think I was misunderstood there. But yeah, so and the Blues will get better. I mean, it's a so I don't like the idea of calling it not a good sports town anymore, because it is. It's just they're not very good teams right now. In a good sports town, we just don't have good teams, and I think that's what we're going to say to that. That's what I'm going to say.
I think the fact that it could be a lot worse. The thing is we don't have the Bears that suck and the Bulls that haven't been any good since Michael and never been good unless it was with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And then the Cubs who win once every 108 years.
And the White Sox.
So it could be a lot worse.
And the White Sox.
Oh yeah. And the team that nobody cares about. It's one. Well, there you go too. But they had good run for three. They got 3 cups and then that was it. Now they're going to.
Okay, so I'm just unhappy with the last several years.
We know, but you're in the same boat with all of us. Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to. We're all we all want to see them be better than what they are, and they're not the teams aren't playing as well as they need to. So, and they aren't playing as well. And they don't have the talent that other teams have, and baseball makes it really, really stand out. Unlike hockey, where there's a salary cap and everybody has to play at this level, and this is as much as you can spend because it's a hard salary cap. Where baseball is just like, I've got billions of dollars, like I'm freaking Uncle Scrooge swimming in my money, also known as the Dodgers. We'll just take this guy. We'll get this guy and this guy. And then we're over here like, we've got uniforms and stuff.
But we're not poor. That's the thing. The Cardinals aren't poor.
But we don't have the money that Los Angeles
We don't have wait
That's
20.
the thing.
We don't have wait 20 years to pay people money like what the Dodgers have.
But here's the thing.
I'm telling you right now, that is going to come back to bite them so much. It's not.
But
even
if they
funny.
win
The
2,
Dodgers-
3, 4 World Series, by then it will have been worth it. Okay,
Unless they turn into
they bankrupt their team.
Unless they turn into the Oakland A's because of it.
Hey, if they do, then what's going to happen is that owner's going to say, I'll sell it. I'll probably sell it for 10, 20 times worth than what it is right now. Walk into the sunset, count my money, or go dive in like Scrooge McDuck, and it becomes somebody else's problem. I mean, this is the whole thing with the St. Louis Cardinals. DeWitt takes it over for millions of dollars. Now, if he wants to right now and sell it, it's billions of dollars.
Billions.
So billions, billion. So I don't want to hear that we don't have the money when the valuation is it's one of the premier franchises in MLB.
No. We sat here and listened to him. We're going to
money.
build this stadium. We're going to spend more money. We're going to build all this stuff, Ballpark Village. We're going to spend more money. They haven't spent more money, but like $1 million or $2 million. No, they acted like they were going to spend 120, 130. That has not happened. You made promises to the Cardinal fans that you aren't keeping. That's why if Cardinal Nation, don't go. Why are you going? I can't watch that miserable crap.
Here now, okay, you can't watch it. And I go back to what Kevin said last
I'll watch
season.
it on TV, but I won't watch it.
I'll watch it on TV.
There.
Here's the thing. You
I'm not even able to do that anymore.
Right. I think you have, and what Kevin has said and what Chris just alluded to today, you have a young core. You've got a Wynn, you've got a Gorman, you've got Walker, you've got Donovan, you've got Nootbaar, you've got Victor Scott. You got a young core. Go ahead and play them. If I would rather you say we're going to stick with these young guys. We're going to see what we have for the next, 2, 3, however many years. And then if they perform, then we can go out and get a Jimmy Edmonds type. We can go out and get a Scott Rowland type. Think about it. We had Pujols. We had Yachty. We eventually, early on, Wainwright hadn't gone into the pros yet, but we trade for Wainwright. He comes up, from Atlanta and all of that. So we can supplement if we know what this core is, but we won't ever find that out because we don't know if they're going to play them or not. I would rather, okay, if we know, like you say with the Blues and what Army always says, hey, this is where we're at. If the Cardinals said, this is what we're going to do, this is our philosophy, let's play all these young dudes, and then we will figure out pitching at some point, whether that's this year, next year, or whenever, but at least on the offensive side, this is our core group. Let's take them going forward. And then let's go do that. I think if you came out and said that today, I bet Cardinal Nation would be like, okay, we can at least get around that and get behind that and cheer them on that way.
The problem is nobody believes anything that comes from management.
Right.
It's like Elf. You sit on a throne of lies. That's exactly what it is. Nobody believes anything that they. If DeWitt comes out and has a press conference, how many people are going to sit back and go, well, "That dude's lying"? Like, I ain't believing any of this stuff. You can tell me all day long. It's the show me state. Show me exactly what you're doing. Show me. Oh, you're going to spend money? Show me the money that you spent. Show me. You want to put together a team that's a winning caliber team? Show me that you're actually doing it. Again, when we relate the Blues to the Cardinals, the Blues have already won, tore it down, tried to do it again, realized they didn't do a good enough job, tore it down again, and they're back trying to build back a winning program. The Cardinals have not won, and they aren't doing it. But they said they are, but they aren't. Well, what are you doing? Well, we are. Well, okay, well, show me. Well, we can't. Why? I don't know, but we are. Just be patient. Like I'm like, okay, is this some David Copperfield crap you got going on here? Like, what? Where's the magic trick? Well, you know, like what's the prestige? What am I waiting for here? Nothing. There's nothing. There's no proof. And so when Mozeliak or DeWitt come out and say what they're doing, everybody's like, yeah, whatever. If Doug Armstrong says, you know, well, we feel like we could win a Stanley Cup, everybody's like, hell yeah, Doug Armstrong says it because that dude tries to win. We're all behind it because we see what they're trying to do. You know, John Stillman says, hey, we're going to go out and try to build a winner. It might take a couple years. Everybody's like, let's believe that. It's going to suck, but you know what? Hey, let's believe that because that's what they're doing. They fired the interim coach, or the guy that they took the interim tag away from. They fired him to hire Montgomery because that was a move they felt like they needed to make in order to win. Ollie ain't going nowhere. Again, that's the difference. So I don't believe anything that the Cardinals tell me. That's why I said I want to see what they do now that they're in this situation. You've had a year where people just said, I'm not going to the games. We're not going. We're not going to go, and it's going to suck, whatever, so we're not going to go watch them play. And they made it clear. Okay, so now we're going to do this whole, you know, retool. We're going to do the cut pay or whatever they're doing. Okay, great. It's all BS until you show me something different. And if they don't, and they try some other crazy stuff or feed us a bunch of lies, then it's going to be the same thing. And it's like, okay, then there's no reason to believe anything you guys are saying ever. You've had the highest of the highs and you've had the lowest of the lows. What are you doing to get back up where you need to be? They're not. They're not doing anything. They're not building anything. It doesn't work. That means that they need to try something different. And I want to see what they do. That's it. Sorry, I was long-winded.
but perfectly said.
Well, thank you. Yes. I don't know about perfect, but that's and I feel like from what we've all said, I feel like that's kind of the general gist of everything that we all want to see. I think we're all in agreement that we don't like the direction the Cardinals have went the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, does everybody agree with that? You know, raise your hand. Yeah. Okay.
Thumbs up. Thumbs down.
Up. Let's do the engage. Thumbs up. Okay. Jason's got his thumb on his phone texting or whatever. Jason, do you agree we don't like the direction of the Cardinals? Would you thumb up or a fist of 5?
I say don't ask. He'll put a middle finger up.
I thought we were going to get a different finger.
Right.
This is an E for everyone show, and I'm sticking with my E.
That's not what the E stands for when I have to mark that on Apple Music, just so you know. It's like here's the coach's box and here's the Marshall Mathers LP. Look, Mom, they're the same.
Well, so the real thing I think we're going to see is not on opening day. I think we're going to see the younger kids on opening day in those 6. It's in that second game or that third game or that second game. Let's go second game. Are we going to see Jordan Walker not playing and Alex Burleson in right field? Is that what we're going to see? Because that's not what we want to see. We want to see Jordan Walker play as 160 games. Let Mason Wynn play 160 games. Let Gorman play 160 games, wherever the hell you put him at.
Okay, let's go into that. Because
hang on. To piggyback Kevin, Kevin's right. They need to just let these guys play, and it's like, oh, well, he doesn't hit against lefties. Well, let him see some left-handed pitching. Let's see if he can actually learn to hit left-hand, because we're in this. We're not going out there and saying we're going to compete for a world championship this year. So let these guys get the experience that they're not going to see in AAA or AA or in the minors or the simulation crap that they do. Just let him play. I don't care if he hits a 100 or 080 against lefties. Let him have a chance to do something against them. Forget the splits. Take the calculator and the numbers and throw them out the window. Take a dump on them, flush them, whatever you got to do. It's done. Just let these guys play and then see what you got.
I think that's the issue. Is I don't think they have a answer to the question of who are they. And who do they want? Because again, when Kevin says, are we going to have Burleson in the second game? Well, then is that who you're wanting on this team? Okay, well then put the guys you want on the field. And like you said, Chris Lee, but I don't think they have an idea of who they actually want. I think they're
that's what I'm saying. They have too many. I mean, you got Siani, Victor Scott, basically kind of the same person, right? You got, you got Donovan, who has to be part of the core. Where are you going to play him? You have Newt Bar. We just got so many people that if you didn't have first base and third base clogged up, then you wouldn't have a problem.
Okay, so the fact that they're there. So go back and tell me it's day one, lineup number one, whatever, who you put and where. And we could sit here and talk about like in the order later, but like who
I tell you right now,
if you want who we would want there or who we think the Cardinals are going to put.
Yes, that right there. Where do you think the Cardinals are going to put?
Well, we already know who first and third are.
It's Herrera's behind
who's
the
catching?
plate.
Herrera. Now, is this the same? Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Is this the same guy that we said couldn't throw anybody out at second?
Yes.
No, that was
Or was that Contreras? Okay.
Paez.
No, I'm just asking.
It's Herrera.
All right, go ahead.
Herrera.
So we got Herrera behind the plate.
Paez is still going to be on this team.
Contreras is at first.
Okay.
I bet we're going to see Donovan at second. Wynn at short. Arenado at third. And in the outfield, we're probably on opening day going to see Siani. I'm going to say we're going to see Newt Bar in center, Burleson in left, Walker in right, and Gorman at DH.
Wow. So you're going to say no Scott and no Newt Bar?
No, Newt Bar in center.
Oh, Newt Bar in center.
I think Newt Bar in center.
Wow.
They put a projected lineup out. I saw it today. They had Burleson as your DH. Your outfield was Walker in right. Newt, I think, was in left. And I don't know who they had in center. I don't remember if it was Siana or Victor Scott. And then the infield's pretty easy. I mean, I think it's going to be Arenado, Wynn, Donovan, and then Contreras. And catcher is going to be what's his face. And then
so you're going to have three. I guess you're just that tag of Contreras is no longer a catcher, so your backup guy.
Contreras isn't catching anymore because it's easy to play first base.
Extremely easy. So who's your DH, Burleson or Gorman? Are you going to go?
I'd rather
because
be
they're both
Gorman,
lefty,
but I think the Cardinals.
right? What?
Say again. I'm sorry.
I was going to say who's your DH, Gorman or Burleson? Because they're both left-handed.
It matters if
I got to play Gorman.
Higher ceiling.
Yeah. The dude, okay. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, Jason was right when he said you got all these guys out there playing in the outfield. Unless they just rotate them and everybody gets 3 days and 1 day off and you just stagger them out, there's no way to do it. You're going to have to trade somebody. Somebody's going to have to get traded. It doesn't make any sense to have this many outfielders. If Contreras is going to play first, then he plays first, and sometimes he DHs if you just need him to do that and get a day, but he's got to play because you're paying him. They've got to find some way to trade Arenado because there's no sense in keeping him. There really isn't. He already tried to, and he vetoed the trade, which I don't understand why he vetoed the trade. If I want to go somewhere, I want to go somewhere that's going to win, like Houston. Idiot. And it's got a short left field porch.
He's kicking himself now for not taking that deal.
He was holding out for for like the Yankees or something like that.
Yes, the Dodgers or wherever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're just like, no. So, but if I'm Houston, I still want to take a guy who's a pull-hitting third baseman who in St. Louis is hitting can of corn flyouts to the left fielder. When you in Houston, that's in the Crawford boxes. That's a home run. So why wouldn't I want that guy? I would still try to trade for him.
And do you go out? I mean, don't you think it was bad business by Mozeliak just to, we want to trade Arenado? I mean, what? I don't know. I mean, even if everyone knew it, do you come out and say that? No. Do you? I don't know. I thought it was a. Did they really want to get rid of him? That's what I really wonder. Because
well, if you go out and you say that our number one priority is to trade Arenado in the offseason, then you just let everybody know what's in your hand.
I don't like that. That's stupid to me.
It's really dumb. It makes me want to think I needed to be a part of his poker night.
Him and Shane, right, from New York?
I think Mozeliak wanted to trade him, but I think Mozeliak wanted to do it absolutely and only on Mozeliak's terms, which means he's not paying any of that contract. And that wasn't going to happen.
But that's the problem with you're paying it right now. You're paying it, and it's like, well, I guess we'll just go ahead. I know
he wants the contract gone, and he doesn't want it hanging around. And I'm like, well, then you shouldn't have.
Man, Alabama's coach is losing his marbles. This is great.
So,
and we're back.
Yeah, you are. But I've chimed in plenty on this Cardinal crap.
You talk about all that about we got too many outfielders. We can go ahead and just pencil in Newt Barr is going to be hurt. We can pencil in somebody else is going to wind up being hurt too. We're going to pencil in all these pitchers are going to wind up getting hurt. You know, I mean, why isn't Tink Hintz? Why isn't he up?
Trade him.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think by the end of the year, I think Contreras is back behind the plate, and Walker or Gorman's at first base.
Bold.
Or Burleson is at first base.
I'm with you too. I think Contreras will be catching more than at first when it's all said and done too, because I don't think the other two are going to get it, and I just don't. It makes sense. If I was doing
you get all the
team,
bats in the lineup.
Yes, it's the only way you get them all in the lineup because you didn't get rid of Arenado, and then Contreras, let's play first. Well, Burleson, sorry, you're screwed. You ain't playing first. Hey, Gorman, you can't play first. I mean. We handcuffed ourselves. I'd have left his shitty butt at catcher. I mean, there's worse catchers than him.
Yes, I probably would. I think by the end of the year, by June, he'll be back behind the plate on a more than regular basis. And especially if Herrera gets hurt and we're stuck.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Herrera is hurt all the time too. And I just hate the whole thing. You just got too many people and not enough spots to play them. It's my feeling.
Well, and that's just the way it goes. I mean, you should have traded their assets when they were worth a little bit more and got some value out of them, and they didn't do that. They should have found a way to make the Arenado deal work to some degree, and now they're stuck with that. I mean, again, I want to see how this all finishes up and what they actually look like. And I think at the end of the year, there's going to be some younger guys up that we aren't seeing. You know, like Tink. I think Tink Hintz. I think McGreevy's going to have to play a lot because he's a talent. He's a first round draft.
Don't we have a catcher? Don't we have a catcher they were promising on, or they like? No, there's one below. No, there's another one.
I think there's another one
below.
McGreevy is the guy that they keep penciling into that fourth or fifth spot in the mock rotation. So I think he'll be up here permanently.
Okay, so we got a little bit of time here. I said, hey, here's a debatable topic for you. I said, okay, come up with one way to improve the fan experience in any sport. And I said, I'll go first. I said, mine was for baseball, have a catcher or umpire camera during the live at bat. So flip the camera angle, have it coming from either the catcher or the home plate umpire, especially with the big time matchups. So the Skeens Ohtani matchup. Let it get it from that angle, and then you could see maybe something different. The ball coming off of the bat from behind the batter's box. I think that would give a better or more realistic fan experience, because we look at it. Chris, you can vouch for this. Getting in the batter's box with Alec and him throwing probably a fraction of what he can actually throw. We look at it from our vantage point where they put the cameras, and I'm sorry, but 98, 100 mile an hour doesn't seem like it's that fast coming from that, going away from you as opposed to coming at you. I think if you got that viewpoint, I think that would give, I don't know, a new perspective and a more appreciation to be like, holy cow, hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports.
Well, it is. It ranks up there as one of the hardest things to do, and it's not because Alec threw a slider that I thought was going to kill me, and then it just broke back across where the plate would be for a strike. It's the fact that you have to take a round stick and hit a round ball, and you have to put it where other people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about hitting it, because hell, I fouled one of those things off. But it was a foul
Yes.
ball, and it wouldn't have
It's
counted.
a moving round ball with a moving round bat, and hit it square.
Hit it square and hit it where
Sorry,
someone
it was
is.
I knew I'd find it. Jimmy Crooks and Leonardo Bernal. Those two catching prospects they have. The Crooks is one that a lot of people are calling a big sleeper. I mean, we didn't even talk about Thomas Sagassi or whatever that
JC.
I mean, there's another guy, and then you got JJ Weatherholt, who's going to be pretty talented. I don't know. I just hate the makeup with all those outfielders and nowhere to play them all.
Well, it just makes for an extremely tough situation for the Cardinals, and then on top of that, like what are you trying to do? I mean, really, at the end of the day, what are you trying to do? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna have to just wait and see what they end up doing, and
it's probably math. We probably do know. It's analytics. This is the lineup that projects. It's Moneyball. This is the lineup that projects us to get the most hits for the day or the most runs for the day, and that's what they're going to do. Instead of saying, "Yeah, on paper," but in real life, play the hot hand, or let's maybe see again who do you actually have. I'm
sorry. I know Ciani was great, but I want Victor Scott in center field.
Higher ceiling, yes.
What?
Higher ceiling.
Higher
Victor
ceiling.
Scott's got the higher ceiling.
Yes, I want him in center field. We should have traded Ciani when he was on fire last year.
Yes.
And, teams would have jumped on him. The defense alone just to put him in center field. And we didn't, because he's one of our you know how we are with our prospects. I mean, but when you have that many, because I think you could have a year or so ago gotten a lot for Nudabar if you would have wanted. Mm-hmm. And they still rate him. Like, I was watching something the other day, and they were talking about what they were comparing him to. Like, the Cardinals can't get rid of him because this is what I forget who they were comparing him to. Another outfielder. I was like,
probably Tyler O'Neill. Guy can't stay healthy. I mean, I don't
know. It was
I
know.
I'm
stud. But I don't know, man. I don't want to be Marmol. I don't want to be making those decisions. Like, I don't know that he'll be making them anyway, but who are you playing every day? And no, you can't. You have to put Walker stays in right field and he doesn't move. Leave him the blankety blank alone and just let him hit. Quit telling him what just let him hit. And just leave him alone. He's the right fielder. And he needs to play 160 games.
Again, you've got a core dude. You just got to say, is Burleson part of that core? Yes or no? And if he's not, then he doesn't play. Okay. And then same way with either Victor Scott or
they screwed Burleson by the whole
right.
the whole first base thing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep, I agree with that.
And you kind of screwed Gorman by not trading Arenado. So I mean, it's like, and second base. I mean, I like Donovan to play everywhere. I don't want him just at one spot. He's one of those guys that needs to play everywhere. He's given that break. He's that guy. And
so
then
are you saying
he's a utility player?
Is he?
He's a utility player.
Core?
He's not every day.
Yes.
He's just but he's a utility guy.
He's a little more than utility,
That's it.
I think. But
I don't know.
I think he's an everyday.
We thought
guy.
Edmund was that way too.
Edmund was.
Look
What he did.
Look at what he did in the playoffs. Look what he did.
Okay, well then maybe I know. Look what he did, and then guess what? He's not a part of our team. So
because
why?
Donovan was younger. Donovan was younger.
Well,
and
and whatever reason it was, he was not
control.
doing it in Cardinals as a
money.
That's because he was hurt all the time. Again, you get a change of venue. You get some doctors that know what the heck they're doing, and then I think Kevin said it last year. You don't have to be the dude. You get all those other guys that they're the one handling the pressure, and now I just get to show up and play. That alleviates a lot of those. Yeah, the dude. That solves a lot of problems. Like, hey, just show up and play, get on base, and somebody's going to hit you in. Instead of, hey, you have to be the guy. You have to be the leadoff. You have to be the table setter. I mean, it's the same way with Arenado and Goldschmidt. In order for us to go, you have to perform. Goldie had an MVP season. Arenado, okay, fine, but I just think there's these intangibles that we probably don't see outside looking in, that there's just some leadership qualities there, because otherwise I think they would all have played better. I think they would, play better, perform better, and we're not having this conversation because, again, Arenado should have known from the jump, if they're not going to get rid of me, then I should be screaming to the mountaintops to the fans, this is what we need to do, and this is what, the GM and front office, they're not doing. And the fans already aren't liking what the front office isn't doing. So Arenado could be that whistleblower, say, hey, look the man behind the screen there and say, look, this is what's going on. And we probably would love him for it, rather than, hey, now we're questioning his leadership ability. Do you even want to be here?
Hey, didn't Arenado just go through this once before in Colorado when they promised him some things? And maybe it's Arenado. Maybe the fact that maybe there's something to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know this has nothing to do with baseball, but the guy Gray that plays for Mizzou is one large man. Holy crap, he's big. And I saw him live and in person. We saw him at the coaching clinic, and that dude is humongous. Like, he just had a guy run through his screen, and I'm like, you got to be a pretty good man to run through him as a screen. He's a big dude.
You guys never answered my question.
I've got an answer for you, Zach.
Okay, Kevin. All right, go ahead.
What's your question?
Right. Improve fan experience. You were looking up all that other stuff.
Oh, my bad.
So I'm going to go to Savannah Banana Ball.
Oh, boy.
And I'm going to shorten baseball games. 2-hour time limit. I'm going to go to the win the inning, get a point method. So it's not, you could score 5 runs in the first, but if the other team doesn't score any, you only get 1 point, and you win a certain number of innings, it speeds up the game. I think that's for fan experience, going that route. So whoever wins the most number of innings wins the game.
Are you going to do a golf style where, again, you're going the full 2 hours? You're going to say, hey, the 9-inning game, if we win the first 5 innings, ball game's over?
Well, no, because the rule, and I would say this with Banana Ball, in that 9th inning, every run counts. So you could be down 8-0, score 9 runs in the 9th and win.
Okay.
No new inning starts after 2 hours. So
okay.
I'm excited to go to that. We got tickets for that for the Friday night when they were here. So
dude, that was in high demand. Like that sold out like that. Bam.
We must have, my wife and I must have put in about 8 different emails into the lottery to try to get into it. And, so it worked out. So we're going to take the 2 girls. We're going to go up that night. We're pretty excited about that.
There you go.
That'll be fun.
Yes.
All right,
but
Chris.
yes, I do think shortening game times would be.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I'm not even a baseball purist, but no, they've already put in the pitch clock. They've already done some things to speed up the game. They don't need to speed
You got to watch.
anymore.
I'm telling you, get onto YouTube, watch one of those banana games, and see how fast those pitchers work. It's enjoyable to watch.
They're not pitching.
I'm not for that.
To the same talent as.
I'm not saying. Well, then it'll match. Talent on talent. The pitchers aren't as talented throwing to not as talented hitters. So imagine what it'd be like at the major leagues.
Hey, I sent you that picture of MLB teams hitting over 250 or whatever it was. Apparently, there's not that many talented MLB hitters anymore.
So
no, they're not. We've established that one too.
All right, Chris, what do you?
What would I do to improve fan experience? Well, I mean, just think about the All-Star game. Stop being a wuss. Stop worrying about getting hurt. You know, I came here to watch you play, so there's no load. I would eliminate load management. You have to play if you're unless your legs are falling off or your arm is falling off or something is actually torn. Then no, I want to see you out there playing, clown. That's what I'm paying you. That's why I'm paying your salary. Dance for me, puppet. Get out there. I want to hear about you. I got a hangnail. No, play. Well, I can't pitch. Well, then play the field. I don't care. Okay. I don't want to hear all this crap. Definitely don't want to hear this crap with basketball. I'd make them play defense. Hey, if you want to make defense better in the NBA too, go ahead and let them play a zone defense. Eliminate the offensive 3 seconds. I think that's stupid. Let them play zone. Let them trap. Make it more creative. Hell, short. Hey, make the court smaller. That way now you don't have as much room to do all that stuff. I'm okay with that. And the fact that the 3-point line is killing the NBA and nobody sees it, I don't think I would almost either move it even
Oscar
further
Robertson
back
does.
or do away with it completely. Well, Michael Jordan, I mean, that's the reason Jordan didn't do threes. He said it takes away from the rest of his game. And what you're able to do, there's less creation because of the 3-point line. I mean, they just dribble down and shoot. It's the most annoying thing to watch.
Analytics, man.
So I eliminate analytics is terrible when it comes to basketball. So I want the fan experience. I want these guys to actually freaking play. Okay. And number one thing, they have to play. You have to play, you have to compete, make a consequence for the losers in the All-Star game for all I'm concerned. I think it's ridiculous.
I like Doug's.
Ridiculous.
I like Doug's. Bring steroids back. Hey.
I thought that had Zach McVey written all over
Yes,
it.
it did. Yep. All right, Jarvis.
Wait, I'm okay with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Sure, why not? Let them.
Jarvis, what would you do to boost the fan experience?
I would lessen beer prices. That would help. I would lessen what it costs to take a family to a game. It is outrageous what people are paying. I couldn't afford to take all 3 of my kids and me and Tara Lynn to a game. We're talking $500 to $800 by the time you talk tickets, parking, for refreshments, everything. I mean, it's made people like you and me. Well, maybe not you, Zach, but I mean, I've seen where you live. But people like me and Chris and Kevin, you know, it's made it almost impossible for us to go to games. You know, I can't afford to go to a game.
Please, sir, can I have some more Can I please have another
right? The other night in the snow because I wanted to. I did because I needed to.
I like this thing called heat and light.
Yes. You know,
I mean, I delivered Instacart and braved the elements because, you know, I needed money for the battery I had to put.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like Dylan cut his finger and it cost like $1,300 to go to the hospital to get 3 stitches when he did it. And I had to pay that off. And then, when he was home for Christmas break, he needed brakes in his car. And I'm like, I DoorDashed enough to cover the brakes and then I quit, you know, but
Jarvis, wait, if he cut his finger, was it that bad? Could you have done a Ronnie Lott situation and just cut it off? And been...
You ain't playing basketball no more. Here you go.
He's probably played more basketball last semester than he did all last year, you know.
Hey, that nubbed, Jason, that nubbed finger is a conversation starter with a girl. Okay. Nub your finger, well, let me tell you.
You see what had
and
happened
on that
was-
note,
Well, I was in high school football game, and they said either cut it off or come out of the game, and I Ronnie lauded it.
There you go. See,
you know it's getting bad. My computer's
I'm just
going
saying.
down.
All right.
Now, on that note, anyway, we're
gonna
wrap
her up.
the
I want to
show
watch
up.
this game.
Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in for another episode of the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. You know, we're going to try to be back on next week. You just never know, you know, how things will go.
Hey, I want to say
but-
something. Not one person has said anything about you know who not being here, and he is not here. We cannot let this episode go by without me saying that, as usual, Jim Big Time Powers, you know, I guess Ben's got him watching all kinds of film and everything else, but he once again let us down and was not on the show.
Hey, I would say next week's districts week, but y'all are big schools now, so you guys got another week before your district tournament.
Yep. And we haven't even got our seeds yet.
So.
Yeah, I know.
Guys,
I'm not hosting it, so I know where we're going to be.
Oh, yeah. Where's it? Where's?
Although I did. Hey, it's at SLU High.
Ours is at St.
We did
Jim.
pick up another win this last week.
There you go.
Without playing a game. Yeah, you know, it's illegal to play a kid 7 quarters in a game.
Okay.
So we got to win.
There you go.
Yeah, not the way we wanted to. I mean, we lost by 18.
Me,
Still
I didn't
to
get
win.
a conference win this year. I'm coach of the year.
Yeah.
Awful. We can't win close games. Poor coaching. The shot.
It's always fun to try to overcome poor coaching. That's what I keep telling.
The 28% we shot from the field the other night had a lot to do with me. 28% for the game.
You mean practice shooting is something that you have to do to play basketball?
You might need to do it outside of Coach Jarvis time, you know?
Oh,
You know,
wait a second.
I kind of feel like that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You mean you
that's
can't
the
show
whole
up?
it is.
You can't show up after Halloween. Just go Halloween to March, and that's it. Doesn't work that way.
Nah, not if you want to win games.
I mean, you can.
Not if you want to win.
You can. Doesn't mean you're going to be any
There
good.
it is. Okay.
You want to be any good?
Okay.
You want to play? Yeah, things like that. So we appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode. We hope to be back next week with a brand new episode. And for all the guys, and of course, Mr. Powers, who isn't here, and Jason, side of Jason's head, we will see you guys all.
Let's hope. Hey,
good night.
Let's
God
hope
bless.
Mizzou closes this out, or you might not see me next week.
And we'll see you guys. Have a good night.
This episode of the Coach's Box Call It Like We See It podcast is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.